A year ago, I reviewed the potential Olympus tough TG-5 or TG-6 replacement, the equally tough DooGee S98 smartphone, which I concluded that while it was a pretty good budget smartphone with all the connectivities you ever need, but it was let down by the camera. And a year on, DooGee comes back and tells me that their brand new S100 and S100 PRO are much better. But how much better? Does it finally have the guts to challenge my aging tough TG5 camera, and with all the computational power and connectivity for a day out in the wild? Well, let's find out. Hi, this is Cheng from RED35. Today, I'm very excited to show you a couple of rugged, tough smartphones from DooGee that you can take on any challenging adventure for under $400. These are DooGee's brand new S100 and the S100 PRO. They are essentially the same phone, but with a couple of key differences which I'll cover later. I am indeed quite excited to see both the S100 and the 100 Pro models in my hand. The S98 was a little too funky to my taste, and the new 100 and 100 Pro, well, definitely has taken a step back and utilized a more simplistic approach. The overall appearance is definitely, well, more businesslike or premium than their predecessor. Build is as good as ever though. The S100 and 100 Pro are both bigger. Well, much bigger than any smartphone I've seen in my life, especially the 100 Pro. Look at this one here, which has now a nickname, the Beast in the smartphone world. It's all because of the monstrous 22,000 milliamp battery. Yes, you heard that right. That is 4 times of any high-end smartphone that I know of at the moment, including the Apple iPhone. This also results in a heavier than normal weight at over half a kilogram. But I'll explain a little later. The S100 is more fun and smart. Smartphone. Yeah, you get that? Anyway, the design is less utilitarian than the S100 Pro, with a slimmer but still thick profile for its ruggedness. And the overall aesthetic is lightened by a choice of vibrant colorways. And I particularly like the yellow I have here. Well, what can I say? It's yellow, right? And the leather-like back feels good and offer a degree of grip, even in the wet. Yes, wet. Both the S100 and 100 Pro models are IP68 rated, and MIL 810H standard military-grade testing for its weatherproofness and ruggedness. Operating temperature is also crazy. Both of these models will function between -55 yeah, to 70 degrees Celsius. Well, yeah, this is certainly more rugged than my TG-5 for sure. This is the main reason I'm reviewing DooGee's new S100 brothers. Well, I want to see if the new 108 megapixel camera can rival my iPhone 13 Pro Max and my OM1. Well, both models have 3 cameras at the back and 1 in the front. At the back, we have the impressive big whopper, the 108 megapixel camera featuring Samsung HM2 sensor, a lens with a f1.8 aperture and 7-element design. And the second ultra-wide camera is more modest, with only 16 megapixel resolution and a f2.2 aperture. And the last one right here, well, is a unique 20 megapixel Sony night vision camera that is carried over from S98, which is a rather fun camera to have if you love searching creepy crawlies in the dark. The front camera has a rather impressive 32 megapixel resolution that you can use to, check your makeup and teeth after a lavish lobster dinner. With its equally impressive 120Hz LCD IPS display, another standout feature that I'll talk more about later. Hybrid autofocus is featured on the main camera, which can get locked onto subjects pretty quickly. the ultra-wide and the night vision are both slower. And though not confirmed, I assume they're contrast detect only. The night vision camera also only provides monochromatic images and utilizes 2 infrared lights so you can see in the dark. At first sight, pictures under normal lighting conditions perform very well, as you would expect from any modern smartphone, and they do look pretty crispy on the phone screen. And remember, the S100's main camera has 5 times the resolution of my OM1, and a whopping 9 times the resolution to my iPhone 13 Pro Max. But does resolution really matter in this case? Here are 2 shots, one shot with normal mode in 16 megapixel and the other with 408 megapixel resolution. Can you spot the difference? Well, now let's zoom in a bit. And a bit. Well, I can't seem to see the difference, which is odd. And if you see at 100%, you can see painting-like artifact, which is a little bit weird. The perceived details we saw earlier were in fact just some color blobs. So unless I can access the raw files, I can't really confirm the exact quality from this mega sensor. At present, it only seems like an overprocessed image. Therefore, there's no tangible advantage to shoot in 108 megapixel, and you may as well save some storage and shoot at 16 instead, which is plenty anyway for backups or general snaps. Remember, my iPhone and TG-5 both have 12 megapixels only. Another feature, or lack of, is Smart HDR. No matter how you look at it, tiny smartphone sensor can only do so much physically. So modern smartphones employ AI to blend multiple frames to create HDR photos to illuminate clippings that often plague older generations of smartphones or point-and-shoot cameras. But in DooGee's case, it's the latter. And even with HDR turned on, and really, I don't think DooGee's current HDR algorithm is any good. Yes, it does recover some highlight details, but it somehow overcompensates the shadow and making it look pretty, well, overprocessed once again. So I will avoid using HDR and rather just be careful of high contrast scenes. There are a few interesting features that worth mentioning. First is AI recognition is pretty cool. Though I'm not sure of the usefulness as I didn't see how it changes the color rendition based on subjects that it recognizes, and the camera will simply just highlight what it is, like flowers, plants, scenery, and so forth. It certainly doesn't do anything else apart from just telling me what they are. Second, the bokeh is pretty decent for the main camera, if you get very close. And I do think it looks better than my iPhone, which is quite a big statement considering the cost. And third is the autofocus. Well, I kind of mentioned it already, but the AF is quick in both stills and video. Okay, not as good as my iPhone, but it feels quicker and snappier than my TG-5's contrast detect only AF. So overall, the image quality from both the S100 and 100 Pro is definitely a step up from S98. While it's vastly improved in my opinion, it still lags behind some high-end rivals. But interestingly, it is getting close to my TG-5 in some cases. In short, video capability is only okay at best. Maximum resolution is capped at 2K at 30p. And even with this 108 megapixel sensor, this figure seems a little bit on the low side. While the AF is commendable, picture quality isn't anything to write home about, especially when you consider the rather shaky footage. There is no optical image stabilization, and even with the electronic stabilization turned on, with some crop, it just can't seem to deal with even the slightest bump. Last but not least, the UI for video inside the native camera app is just horrendous. With the controls covering a third of the visible area makes it very difficult to film anything. Something that I hope DooGee will improve in the future. Like any smartphone screen, or in fact, any point-and-shoot camera like my TG-5, the screen is the window to my creativity. So, the quality of it can make or break one's decision. Well, while it's only a LCD panel, the color is pretty vibrant. With over 400 ppi, it's also very detailed, great for viewing. And the 120Hz refresh rate also makes everything look particularly snappy. But if I have to complain about something, it will have to be the slightly cool tones to the factory setting, and the rather dim in bright daylight. While DooGee didn't give a specific brightness of its display, and I would guess it to be between 300 and 500 nit, which is average and on par with other similarly priced smartphones. And having said that, because of its size and resolution and fast refresh rate, it's definitely much more enjoyable experience than my aging TG-5, and even, the newer TG-6. Now, with the main camera out of the way, what's it like for the rest of the phone? Well, for less than $400, you are getting a lot for your money. Really. And the key feature includes the brand new 6nm Helio G99 chipset, which is interesting, as this chipset is usually found in some gaming smartphones for its fast graphics and lower power consumption, and resistant to heat throttling. But it is good to see such a capable chipset is used in the brand new S100 models. The usual biometric identity verification are supported. Fingerprint sensor on the side, face recognition camera on the front, and passcode are all part of the unlocking processes that you can choose. Dual SIM support and expandable storage of up to 2 TB via micro SD card if you want to back up everything in your phone. Both models have gigantic batteries. The S100 has a rather huge 10,800 mAh pack that's enough for almost 1,000 hours standby time. Yeah, that's nuts. But wait, the S100 Pro has a monstrous 22,000 mAh battery that even DooGee doesn't even bother to list the standby time. This is definitely unheard of in the smartphone world. Because of the huge battery, DooGee is kind enough to upgrade the maximum charging rate to 66 watt via the USB-C port, which is kind of insane for a phone. So you can get 60% charge in 30 minutes for the S100 and 30% for the S100 Pro's huge 22,000 mAh battery. I gotta say it again, 22,000 mAh. This is just crazy. Last but not least, there is a customizable button on the left side of the phone for you to assign for almost anything you want, whether it's turning a feature on and off or to open an app, for instance. And I love that. There are simply too many little things to list in this video. So if you want more details and information on either of these models, I have the official link in the description below. Oh, I almost forgot. Yeah, the main difference between the standard S100 and the Pro model, besides the battery and sizes, is the included camping light on the Pro model, this one right here, which is pretty useful if you are to use it for hikes, travels, and even extreme adventures. And if you don't want to carry a separate camping light or torch. And it can also send visual SOS signal, which is pretty neat. Once again, if DooGee can improve the image quality from the camera further, and please, I don't need more megapixel, just give me more colors and perhaps improve some AI features within the camera modules to give your HDR more pleasing look. And please make your phone 4K capable. Well, I don't mind 2K or even 1080, but with maximum frame rate that is capped at 30, come on, this is 2023. I think it certainly feels a little outdated. There you have it. I personally think the S100 and the S100 Pro are great modern smartphones. No, they're not as powerful as flagship Apple or Android smartphones, but DooGee isn't trying to compete in raw performance. But for a price that is significantly undercut any high-end powerhouses, it's hard to beat in terms of dollar per power unit. Right, while the camera units can't rival my iPhone, it is getting much closer to my TG-5, and in some cases, better this time, especially in good light, mainly due to the high-resolution sensor. And if you like to shoot occasional creepy crawly at night and in pitch black, the night vision camera will have you covered too. And the S100 Pro model is also a one-of-a-kind product that any expedition team member should have one. It is made to tackling long trip without worrying power. Yes, it is huge, but no bigger or heavier than a satellite phone. But with the power and storage on offer, you can store any map data offline and utilize the built-in GPS to navigate if needed. The light is also a great safety feature that can't be overlooked either, should you need it in emergency. So, what's my verdict? Should you avoid it, consider it, shortlist it, or just go ahead and buy it? Well, I think you should just go ahead and buy it. If you need a budget phone for your kids who love to destroy things, or for yourself, if you're considering getting a separate GPS-enabled and 4G connected device from the likes of Garmin and others. Because for the price, you can get DooGee's S100 PRO and have everything you want, while still much tougher than any of these hiking products available. Yes, it is that good. And now, with a point-and-shoot quality camera for the occasional snaps to share instantly and showcase your friends on the other side of the globe, it's just icing on the cake. And that's it, folks. I hope you enjoyed this review and let me know your thoughts about DooGee's new tough phones. And you know what to do now. Thumb if you like this video and sub if you want to stay in touch with all things photography, filmmaking, and of course, tech and gadgets. Peace. Welcome to my bonus section. Yes, I kind of like these things. And yes, I did review the S98, like I said earlier in the video. I like it. You know, it's not a bad phone. It's just a cheap phone. But it certainly can't rival the likes of, you know, my tough TG-5 or, in fact, any of my point-and-shoot camera for that matter. But the S100 new model, well, it's certainly a big improvement over the S98, in my opinion anyway. The camera, yes, there are hit and miss areas that I think could have done better, especially from the color side of it, the dynamic range and the AI processing, and those can be improved dramatically. The video, especially, I think that they left it completely, hasn't improved at all from the original, and I think they could have made it a lot better, especially in the UI point of view. And yeah, frame rate should have bumped up a little bit as well, especially now they have 108 megapixel sensor, which is more than enough to do 8K video. And I'm not asking for it. All I ask is maybe 1080 in 60p and also 4K, at least 4K 30p, you know, but it hasn't got any. And so it's a little bit disappointing from the video side. And other than that, you know, is this a capable point and shoot? You know, if you really want to use it just as a camera, little thing to run around, yeah, it's okay. It's not brilliant, but it's okay. But other than that, you know, especially in the 100 Pro, I think for those active adventure guys out there, you know, you'll find it very, very useful, especially for the connectivity on offer and also the expandable storage and toughness from this thing. It's unbeatable. You know, you can easily spend hundreds of pounds on any Garmin GPS and you can basically get the same thing, but with all the other connectivities that you have on offer and a really huge and bright torch that will send out SOS signals if needed, that is just really, really cool. I think this is a special product. I know it's huge, it's big and heavy, but it is a special thing that I think is pretty useful in certain circumstances, right? Anyway, let me know you guys. Let me know what you think about these phones, and I'm sure we'll do more with DooGee in the future. And I already have another tablet that they sent me that I'm going to do a short review for. And once again, it's on the budget side, so don't expect anything fancy and things like that. So yeah, stay tuned for that content as well. But until next time, though, I'll speak to you all very soon, and enjoy the beautiful sun that we have in the UK. Peace.